Just like in real life, you need to have land. You know, when I was a little kid, I remember my parents telling me that the one thing they're not making any more of is land. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. If you've just found me in the nacho cheese universe that we call YouTube, well, thanks for checking out my content today. I really hope you guys enjoy it. And of course, if you enjoy it, please subscribe to the channel, help support us, and get us closer to 10,000 subscribers. I'm looking forward to the party we're going to have when we get there. It's going to be epic. So here we are. Lands, which are awesome. Magic, which is amazing. And money. Gotta say, these are three great combinations, aren't they? And they do go hand in hand. It's very kind of scary. You know, when I was younger, playing Magic the Gathering, we would open a starter deck, right? Revised, unlimited, whatever. You'd open this deck. It would have a certain amount of land, a certain amount of commons, uncommons, you know, some cool cards inside. You would build these decks. But guess what? Say I just wanted to build a strictly white deck, or a strictly green deck, or a blue deck, or a black deck. You didn't have enough lands. And they didn't produce them like they do nowadays. We don't have 10,000 lands at a store that you can just grab something, you're good. No. You had to trade with friends. You had to do things. And then the first time that I saw a Tundra, a first dual land was a Tundra. I remember because the person, at one turn they cast Balance, the next turn they went ahead and cast an Ancestral. It blew my mind. And it's at that moment, I think I was like 16, and I realized how important the mana base is. How amazing it can be. Because without mana, we can't do anything in the game. Now the early mana base, not even everything tapped for land. When we had Legends, Tabernacle at Pendlevale doesn't tap for land. Serra's Sanctum doesn't tap for mana. You couldn't get mana from these. Later on, they've kind of corrected that over the years, but at the time, not all lands were created equal, right? But I look back to some of the things that have gone on, and some of my biggest money-making deals in Magic have all come from me selling fetch lands. That's right, fetch lands, especially from cons. So before we get the rest of this rolling, remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I have no financial background. You need a financial advisor, go find one. This is purely for entertainment purposes only, and for those who like to hoard cardboard in the background. But it's true, when Khans of Tarkir came out, and so many boxes were open, Polluted Deltas, it just windswept heat, they're just flooding the market. I remember here in Toronto picking up like Polluted Deltas for like $8, $9. Windswept Heath and stuff for like $4 or $5. And I would just buy out the whole store and say, oh, how many do you have? I'll just take them all. I need them for some decks I'm building. Right? Because they used to kind of limit sometimes. But if you kept going day after day, you just kept grabbing everything. And they kept getting trade-ins, so you just kept buying it. And I waited for that price to drift up. I remember waiting until Polluted Deltas hit around that $20 mark. I'm like, whoa. I sold them on eBay for thousands of dollars. Probably about 10 grand by the time I was done selling them. And that was just the ones I could gather together here in Toronto locally. You make a lot of money in Magic the Gathering in the mana base. An extraordinary amount of money. Now, in the top of the screen there, you're going to see I have all kinds of prices and cards rotating because Wizards has done, over the years, an exceptional job about giving us a library of lands to pick from. Now, some cases, the lands are a little bit weaker. Some are a little bit more OP, a little overpowered. And some find a home later on when another card is printed. I look at all the cards, and the ones I never sell are generally the reserveless ones because they're never coming back. They can't quite be replicated. You know, they've done things to make them similar, but not quite the same. So I tend to keep those. But a lot of the other lands, I usually gather some up as I'm buying. I never trade those in. I gather them. I build them into big bases. And eventually, when they're worth some good money, or at least a medium trade-in, that's when I go ahead and unload them at some point. Timing is everything, because if it's not reserve list, it is going to get reprinted at some point. We know that shock lands are coming back. You know that fetch lands are coming back. Timing it to get the highest price you can and understanding what you're going after. Like, why are you trading them in the first place? You don't always need to trade those lands in because most people come to recognize even a not great mana base, like Hall of the Storm Giants from Forgotten Realms, Temples of Epiphany and stuff from like the Theros block. Those lands are not as good as others, but they still have value. They're always $1 or $2. They're always $3, $4, $5. Pathways are always $5, $6. I remember telling people on this channel back in 2020, going to be 2021, right at the end of their December, When Ikoria first came out, and these triomes that people were talking about, oh, 3 triomes with cycling, and they were like $4, $3.50. And I remember telling people, these are going to go up. You should grab some. I grabbed a hefty handful for myself. I remember some people on the channel grabbing multiple play sets, and yeah, made a lot of money. The ones I've traded in, I kept a couple play sets for myself for the decks I use, but I've sold others to stores and stuff for trade-in for cards that were on the reserve list that I wanted for the channel. Usually for prizes, but I still did it. And I got a lot of trade-in. And that is possible because you buy at the right time. You recognize something for what it is. Just because it doesn't look fantastic doesn't mean it's not going to be good, because some lands are made strictly for standard, right? But you don't look at standard. You say, how is this going to interact with cards in Commander? How is it going to affect the Commander format bringing these mana-based cards in? Because they are amazing. When you look at cards that are banned like Tolarian Academy, you notice I haven't given up on that card, because if it ever becomes unbanned, it's going to be a lot higher. It's going to be as much as Gaia's Cradle, if not higher than that. Gaia's Cradle, look at what that card does. Of course I want one for my deck. That's why it's a goal of mine this year to save for one. Everything we do in Magic comes from the mana base. People early on were like, oh, Ancestral Recall, this card's amazing. And it is. But you need to have that blue land to be able to cast it. You need to have the other cards around it to make it happen. And that's why you have to have the right mana base at the right time. People forget that. For a long time, when they had out cards like Lake of the Dead, everyone appreciated the artwork. I remember using it to cast Lord Tressorhorn many times from Alliances. But people didn't quite. But you bring around Eldrazi, and you start putting lands like that in, you can ramp those cards out. People for a long, oh, there's this factories. Look at them now. Look at how these cards are played and how they interact. Kil'jaeden Outpost, Sildevi Excavations. All these cards were just underrated. Balduvian Trading Post. People didn't care. But look at what they do compared to lands nowadays. And you see the lands they've made now are modeled on older, cooler mana bases. It's very interesting. And that's why the older cards, the OG originals, go up. Why would I go for a Yawgmoth's Tomb? Tomb of Yawgmoth. It's going to get reprinted. It's going to come around again. So if I'm going to buy one, I'm buying an OG original. If I can get my hands on one, a foil. Foil's like $200, but it's probably worth it because old foils are worth a lot of money. And people always are like, oh, wow. Why is that foil so much? Because it was so hard to get. And it's mana. When you walk into a store and you got a binder, just full land. You're like, hey, all I got in here is land I can trade. And they go, oh, really? And you flip that binder and they start looking through and they go, oh, you got like 30 triomes, 40 fetch lands. Oh, some good stuff. Oh, we got 4 full play sets of shock lands. They're going to take them. They're looking at saying, I'm giving this guy 60, 70 cents on the dollar in trade-in, and I know that people have to buy my lands. People need these for decks. So when you look at trading in cards, understanding land is the closest thing to actual crisp money that I have found while playing Magic the Gathering. Many stores go, oh, no, fetch lands? Oh, yeah, let me see those. They want those fetch lands at $20, $25 right now because they know they're going to go higher. They're going to drift up. They understand Wizards likes to keep them at a certain value. You hold them, you wait for it to drift up. Every new mana base that comes out, people are evaluating that mana base. You should be too. Don't just walk in and trade stuff away because the store says, oh, I'll take that 1 or 2 lands you got there. Why are you trading in? Land is the closest thing to money. Creatures? Instants and sorceries? Depending. Enchantments? Meh. But land is always king. It is what things are based on. Most of the money I have made has either been in power cards I shouldn't have sold or in mana-based cards. Land. Why do you guys think I went and bought Serra Sanctum in 2021? Right at the end there. Right? I went and bought 2020. I went and bought that Serra Sanctum for like $200. Volrath Stronghold, near mint for $80 because I knew they were going to go up. I know what they're going to go to. Yavimaya Hollow, exactly. Why don't we have one yet? Yeah, it's a $100 card, $110. Get it. They used to be 50, they used to be 40, they used to be 30. The reserve list ones are the most valuable and they will continue to climb. Those are the ones I tend not to trade in. Most of the other ones I get, I do tend to hoard some together. I've got some of the AFR Hall of the Storm Giants. Yavimaya Cradle of Growth, you guys know I've been buying some on the channel because $20 is just too cheap. I compare it to the Tomb of Yawgmoth, right, where it makes all the lands, swamp. Same with Cradle of Growth. You're going to have them all being green. I can't wait for the blue one, the red one, the white one. I hope they do them, because then it's just going to be a whole new world in the Commander, and I can't wait to see what happens. But you can make a lot of money. And I'm not a financial advisor, but you don't give away money for free. Understand that is your highest value usually in trading. Is going to be that cool card. Unless you have the day one, some cool dragon that's worth money right now because it's in rotation. But remember, when cards rotate out, the mana base usually is the cards that hold the most value. A nice stable alignment almost always. There's been a few weaker sets than others, I can admit that. But when you see like Rainbow Veils climbing in Fallen Empires, right? Cards that people didn't think were worth anything. City of Brass, we used to think, it does damage to you. Yes, it does, but look what it gets you at the same time. Look at the pain lands. Look at the shock lands. Look at depletion lands. Reserve list and they're horrible. But every other turn, you get the lands you need. You put enough combinations out there, you're casting like normal, and people don't even realize it. Amazing stuff can be found, and eventually, the reserve list ones are going to be really expensive, so you have to start looking at the newer ones that can make you money to help you get the older ones in case you need them. Just something to think about, because it is an amazing game we play, but a lot of this money is focused in this area, and people who don't see it, I find them to be short-sighted people who will look at the flash and glare of the game and say, I want this, oh my god, Oko is so cool. You can't cast him without the right mana, though. You got to look at those pathways, you got to look at the triomes. You got to look at the Battle Bond lands. You got to look at this stuff. It's crazy, and it's worth money, and there's so many out there now. A lot of people can't focus on more than one or two at a time. They're not looking like I look and put the price up for you guys. You have to pay attention to it. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Love talking land. Love talking it. Hope you guys enjoyed the little rotation at the top of the screen there, showing some of the cards and prices. And don't forget the ones from Ixalan. Those artifacts that flip into really crazy lands like a Black Lotus style land, the Gaia's Cradle type land. They're pretty awesome, and they're really cheap. So underpriced. Get them while they're hot. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Have a fabulous day today. Bring a friend to Magic. Have a good one. And, of course, a big shout-out goes out to each and every one of the fantastic patrons on my channel. Thank you again for the support you show each and every month as we go through and the channel continues to grow. Patrons, you guys are awesome. Thanks again. Looking forward to seeing you guys on the live stream. Did you guys see all the lands in the background? I bet you most people missed it. I loaded up the background with all land. I wonder who will catch it. Well, you guys will now because you watched the end of the video. But I wonder who else. I put a lot in there. I'd peel through binders and pull stuff out. It's going to be a pain to put it all away. But you know what? It was a lot of fun to do. People don't realize it. Anyway, you guys made it to the end. You deserve the bonus. We are going today with a Cloister Gargoyle. Cloister Gargoyle. AFR. All right? Going into the 10K box. Looking forward to it. And by the way, I'm probably going to have to upgrade that box in the next couple of weeks. So we'll look forward to the changes. And we're almost at that pizza party. I'm so stoked. I can't wait for it. All right, guys. Have a great one. Thanks a lot for hanging in there. Good times, man. Good times.